Well, the time's arrived. Let's fill this bugger up. Chuck some barley. This is not exactly a usual day of filling the cedar, but here we are. Silo, straight into the elevator. Perfect. I had all intentions of filming that barley going into the box, but I got distracted by a couple of blokes and that was the end of it. What do you reckon, Joe? What do you reckon? Not usually how you put the super in, but for short loads like this, you don't have the truck available, we'll just whack it in here and works quite efficiently, but obviously you got to come back here to get more if you need it. Just don't want to put too much in that hopper because then we've got to move it full, which is a bit hazardous. In comes our next load of fern over here. And the shed full one today. About it, I reckon. Chuck some urea out of the truck in there. Oh, they have to go down the paddock. It's great, barley. Nothing serious going on here. Just feed for the sheep. It is March the 25th, so nice and early. This is a good test for the cedar for the year. See how it goes. Get it set up early on in the piece. Chuck 60 hectares in and then we'll come back first, but pretty much the start of the second week of April for canola. So, good test, make sure everything's right, and go from there. The biggest trouble with this particular cedar is just how wide it is. We're 7.5 metres, and the wheels on the haircut at the back, the jewels, they're very wide. They're like 6, just a bit under 6.5 metres, I think. Probably 6 metres. Most of the bridges around here are 6.5. Not much room for error. Like you could come unstuck real quick if you in these bridges right in the centre. I've got Dana up front. I mean, he's got tape measure, bit of paint, puts a center line over every bridge and every gateway. That's the only real solution we've come up with so far. All of our gateways are pretty wide, but can't fix bridges on the roads. They're going to be what they are forever. So it's a bit of a consideration when we're looking at cedars and haircuts, exactly how wide everything is. In reality, I really wish back because on the haircut had been the large singles instead of jewels, because they're just they're a problem for sure. Things generally magic in the paddock, but it's a bloody nightmare in the roads. It's no two places about it. Luckily for us, we've been milling this for this is our third season now, so we know where every channel can go. We had to look out problems and all that sort of stuff, so you've got a bit of an idea of what's going on with it, but you always got to be aware. You can never get it treated like a triple road train everywhere you go, because it cuts in real bad and it's real wide, so it's not a job for novices. And if it is a job for novices, you got to train them on pretty well before they get in here and get themselves out of shape. One of the problem bridges, as I said, 6.5 metres wide and the bar's 6, so it's just here putting the paint on here now, see the blue marks in again, down to see in the shadow there. Hello, we're in here now. Sorted now, eh? Here we are now. Got her all sorted out. Seating away just nicely. 50 kilos urea, 50 AOP, and 85 barley. A little bit hard to see, but I'll show you from the outside a little bit later. There's urea on scatter plates at the front coming out. We'd like to do the urea on the grazing barley, simply so we don't have to be back here so quick with the urea spreader. So that's, we put it in front of the grazing stuff. We put it in front of canola, and then the rest of the time we just leave it off for the wheat and the barley. It's all going well here, doing 9 kilometres. And the blockage monitoring working here, it seems to be okay at the moment. Meters are all metering properly. Section control's working. There's not a whole lot else can really go wrong here. We'll just jump out in a few runs and check everything's going right, and then I'll put Damo in it for a little while and have a look on the outside, make sure there's nothing going wrong with any of the modifications we've made down on the seeder itself. Yeah, that's it. First day of seeding underway. Get this one finished, and then a couple of little paddocks, and yeah, that's it. Main idea of this really is just iron the bugs out, get the bugs out in the first paddock, get this stuff in. A little bit dustier than I expected out here actually, considering we had 40 mils, but it hasn't got a whole lot of ground coverage, so yeah, it is what it is. It's going about an inch deep, the barley, so that's about where we want it. 5 or 10 mils next week, it'll fly to the ground like nothing's wrong, I think. GPS working on the Pro 1200 here. How many hectares we're doing here? Average work rate, we're doing about 14.2, that'll creep up to about 17 as we get going. Using 66% power, 9 kilometres, fuel rate 76 litres, so that's pretty good. I expect a lot of seeding to sort of be about that rate. Put into the headbands in here. Lift up as we turn around. All the bars on the bar switch, so all the blockage monitoring stops and all the seed stops as we're turning.
that sorted out here. 12 months worth of rust in the system, so we've got to clear a bit out. Ground's nice and soft anyway, it's not making the tines trip out too badly. The sprayers out here, catch what brew we had on, I think something like Driftland and Bettina or something along those lines. I'll have to find out. Everything looks pretty good really. Okay. So the bar is 62 foot wide, box is about 33,000 litres, and all things said and done in the canal it should do around 120 hectares per boxful in canola, putting out the urea and the MAP as well. We've got a canola small seeds box on the Bourgault 9000 cart, and the wheat barley probably more like 150 to 170 hectares for a box full. Not much MAP rate this year, so we'll probably get a fair weigh, which would be good. Less fills means more productivity. Yeah, straight down the run, perfect. Fairly cruisy sowing, I reckon. Anyway, we're going to be in here for about 4 or 6 weeks, so I'm not going to burden you with too much information regarding seeders or anything in this first video. I just showed you the first day, and we'll go into a bit more detail on some of the critical things on seeding. As we go into it, I'll run through the seeder itself. Holders on the front, depth, all that sort of stuff in future episodes. But for today, we're into it. That's a good start. Alright, I'll leave you to it. Have a good one.